Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. I'm Hannah.
And I'm James. Thanks for joining us today.
Today, we are talking about a really important word in English. It's a word you probably use every day, or you should be using every day.
That's right. We are talking about the word can. It's a small word, but it's very powerful.
Exactly. Can is one of those words that helps you do so many things in English. You use it to talk about ability, to make requests, to offer help, and more.
And the good news is, it's not complicated. Once you understand how can works, you will feel much more confident in everyday conversations.
So let's dive in and explore how to use can in real English situations.
Sounds good. Let's start with the basics.
The most common way we use can is to talk about ability. That means talking about what you're able to do or what you know how to do.
Right. For example, if you know how to swim, you say, I can swim. If you know how to drive, you say, I can drive.
It's as simple as that. You're telling someone about your skills or abilities.
And it's the same for things you can't do. You just add not after can. So you say, I cannot swim. Or more commonly, I can't swim.
Exactly. Can't is the short form, and that's what most people use in everyday conversation.
So if someone asks you, can you speak French? And you don't speak French, you can say, no, I can't.
Simple and clear. Now, it's important to remember that can doesn't change. It stays the same for all subjects.
That's a really helpful point, Hannah. Whether you were talking about I, you, he, she, we, or they, can stays the same.
So you say, I can run, she can run, they can run. The verb can never changes.
That makes it much easier to learn, doesn't it?
It does. And the main verb that comes after can also stays in the base form. You don't add s or ing or anything else.
So you don't say, she can runs. You say, she can run.
Exactly. Just the base form of the verb.
Now, let's talk about another really common use of can. We use it to make requests.
Yes, this is something you will use all of the time. When you want to ask someone to do something for you, you can use can.
For example, if you were in a restaurant and you want the menu, you can say, can I have the menu, please?
Or if you need help with something, you might say, can you help me?
It's polite, it's simple, and it works in almost any situation.
And notice we often add please at the end to make it even more polite.
That's a good habit to have. Can you open the window, please? Sounds much better than just open the window.
Absolutely. It shows respect and kindness.
Now, can is also used to offer help or to offer to do something for someone.
Yes, this is a really nice way to be helpful. You can say things like, can I help you? Or can I carry that for you?
It's friendly and shows you care. People really appreciate it when you offer help.
And it's not just for big things. Even small offers are important. Can I get you some water? Or can I open the door?
These small acts of kindness make a big difference in how people feel.
They really do. So remember, can is a great word for offering help.
Now, let's talk about permission. This is another way we use can.
When you want to ask if something is allowed, you use can. For example, if you're in a library and you want to know if you're allowed to borrow a book, you might ask, can I borrow this book?
Or if you're at someone's house and you want to use the bathroom, you say, can I use the bathroom?
It's polite and clear. You're asking if you have permission to do something.
And the person can answer, yes, you can, or no, you can't.
Exactly. It's a simple exchange, but it's very useful.
Now, there's something interesting about can and possibility. We also use can to talk about things that are possible or that might happen.
That's right. For example, if you're talking about the weather, you might say, it can get very cold in winter here.
You're not saying it's cold right now. You're saying it's possible. It happens sometimes.
Another example, this restaurant can be very busy on weekends. Again, it's about possibility.
So can is flexible. It helps you talk about ability, requests, offers, permission, and possibility.
That's why it's such an important word to learn.
Now, let's look at some real examples from daily life so you can see how can works in context.
Good idea. Let's start with a morning routine. Imagine you wake up and you think about what you can do today.
You might say to yourself, I can go for a run this morning. That's ability.
Then maybe you're having breakfast with a friend and you offer, "Can I make you some tea?"
That's an offer. Very kind.
Later, you're at work and you need help with something. You ask a colleague, "Can you send me that report?"
That's a request. Clear and polite.
And then at lunch, you want to sit outside. So you ask your manager, "Can we eat lunch in the garden?"
That's asking for permission.
So you can see, just in one morning, you might use can in several different ways.
And all of these uses are natural and common. You'll hear them every day.
Exactly. Now, let's also talk about the negative form again, because it's just as important.
When you want to say you are not able to do something, you use can't or cannot.
For example, "I can't speak Chinese," or "I cannot come to the meeting tomorrow."
Cannot is more formal. Can't is what most people use in conversation.
That's right. So if someone invites you to a party and you're busy, you can say, "I'm sorry, I can't come."
It's polite and clear.
And if someone asks you to do something that's not possible, like lift a very heavy box, you can say, "I can't lift that. It's too heavy."
Honest and simple.
Now, there's one more thing we should mention. Sometimes people get confused about can and may.
Yes, this is a good point. May is also used for permission, but it's more formal.
So, in very formal situations, like in a business meeting or a formal letter, you might see may instead of can.
For example, may I ask a question instead of can I ask a question?
But in everyday conversation, can is perfectly fine and much more common.
So don't worry too much about may when you're learning. Focus on can first.
Exactly. Once you're comfortable with can, you can explore may later if you need to.
Now, let's think about some questions you might hear with can in everyday life.
Good idea. For example, someone might ask you, "Can you speak English?"
And you can answer, yes, I can, or a little bit, or not very well.
Another common question is, "Can you drive?"
And you answer based on your ability, yes, I can, or no, I can't.
What about, "Can you cook?"
Again, you answer honestly, yes, I can cook, or no, I can't cook.
These are simple questions, but they're very common in conversations when people are getting to know each other.
And they're easy to answer once you understand how can works.
Now, let's talk about mistakes that learners sometimes make with can.
One common mistake is adding to after can. Some people say, I can to swim.
But that's not correct. You should say, "I can swim." No to.
Exactly. Can is a modal verb, and modal verbs don't use to.
Another mistake is changing can for different subjects. Some learners say, "He cans swim."
But remember, can never changes. It's always he can swim.
That's right. Keep it simple.
One more mistake is forgetting to use the base form of the verb after can. Some people say, I can swimming.
But the correct form is, "I can swim," just the base verb.
These are small mistakes, but they're easy to fix once you know the rules.
And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes.
So let's talk about how to practice using can in your daily life.
One great way is to think about your abilities. Make a list in your head or on paper. What can you do?
You might say, I can speak 2 languages. I can cook pasta. I can ride a bicycle.
And then think about what you can't do yet. "I can't play the guitar, but I want to learn."
This helps you get comfortable using can and can't in real sentences.
Another way to practice is to use can when you make requests. Instead of saying, "Give me a pen," try saying, "Can I borrow a pen?"
It's more polite, and you're practicing the structure at the same time.
Exactly. And when someone asks you a question with can, answer with a full sentence.
So if someone says, "Can you help me?" don't just say yes. Say, "Yes, I can help you."
This helps you build confidence with the structure.
And it makes your English sound more natural and complete.
Now, let's think about some everyday situations where can is really useful.
Imagine you are at a shop and you want to try on some clothes. You can ask, "Can I try this on?"
Or you're at a cafe and you want to know if they have Wi-Fi. You ask, can I use the Wi-Fi here?
What about at a friend's house? You might ask, "Can I use your phone?"
Or if you are in a meeting and you need to leave early, you say, I can't stay for the whole meeting. I have an appointment.
These are all real situations, and can makes them easy to navigate.
It's such a practical word.
Now, there's also a related word we should mention quickly, could. Could is the past form of can.
That's right. If you want to talk about ability in the past, you use could.
For example, when I was younger, I could run very fast.
Or I could speak a little French when I was in school, but I've forgotten now.
Could is also used to make polite requests, even more polite than can.
For example, could you help me, please? Sounds a bit more formal than can you help me?
But for now, just focus on can. Once you are confident with can, could will be easy to learn.
Exactly. One step at a time.
So let's think about some key takeaways from today's conversation.
First, remember that can is used to talk about ability, what you're able to do.
Second, can is used to make requests. It's a polite way to ask someone to do something.
Third, can is used to offer help. It's a kind and friendly way to show you care.
Fourth, can is used to ask for permission. It's a polite way to find out if something is allowed.
And fifth, can is used to talk about possibility, things that are possible or that might happen.
So can is really versatile. It does a lot of work in English.
And the structure is simple. You just use can plus the base form of the verb.
No changes, no complications, just can and the verb.
That's what makes it so learner-friendly.
Now, if you want to improve your use of can, the best thing you can do is practice.
Start by noticing how native speakers use can in conversations, in films, and podcasts.
Listen for it and pay attention to the context. How are they using it?
Then try using it yourself. Start with simple sentences.
I can cook. I can't sing. Can you help me?
The more you use it, the more natural it will feel.
And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning.
Absolutely. Every mistake is a step forward.
So, to sum up, can is one of the most important words in English for everyday communication.
It helps you talk about your abilities, make requests, offer help, ask for permission, and discuss possibilities.
It's simple, it's flexible, and it's incredibly useful.
Once you feel confident with can, you'll notice your English conversations become much smoother.
You will be able to express yourself more clearly and politely.
And that's what learning English is all about: communication and connection.
So keep practicing, keep listening, and keep using can in your daily life.
You are doing great, and every step you take brings you closer to fluency.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Talk Amiir.
We hope this conversation was helpful and easy to follow.
Remember, learning English is a journey, and every word you learn is a new tool in your toolkit.
Keep going, stay curious, and don't forget to practice.
Until next time, take care and keep learning.
See you soon!